Good afternoon. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you are doing well. This is a devotional to officially check in and see how you are doing. I preached last Sunday on Eutychus and Acts, and how Eutychus in chapter 20 was a young man who was listening to the Apostle Paul, and he fell asleep. No one noticed. Not only did he fall asleep, but he fell asleep at the window, and he was 3 stories up. So he fell asleep, fell out the window, and died. There are so many young people who are falling away from the church. There are so many people who have fallen away from church entirely because of COVID. I shared Gallup study that talks about how only 40% of Americans consider themselves religious in any way. And the most recent Barna study signifies that there has been a 30% decrease in folks who attend church online, in person. 30% of folks have just dropped church in general. So I have reached out to some folks that I haven't seen in a while this week. I made a couple of visits, I made some phone calls, and there were a couple of folks who are new to our congregation, who are visitors and newer members, who I took time to be intentional with this week. And I wanted to see how you were doing. Have you texted the person that's been on your mind that you haven't seen in a while? Have you caught up with an old friend who is someone you used to see every Sunday and maybe have coffee with in the fellowship hall that you haven't connected with for the last 18 months? It's so easy to get caught up in our own lives. And I want to just confess that I feel like it's so easy to just start going through the motions and just not think about that intentionality, that relational intentionality that's so needed. I was reading the story of Joseph this morning in Genesis, and how when Joseph is in prison in Genesis 40, he begs for, there's the one of Pharaoh's like right-hand men that's in prison with him, and he says, I will help you, but will you remember to tell Pharaoh about me? Because Joseph wanted to get out of prison, and the assistant to the Pharaoh totally forgot to mention Joseph to Pharaoh. And he was in prison for a few more years after that until it finally came to his mind. It's so easy for us to get frustrated with one of Pharaoh's, staff members who forgot about Joseph in prison, but how many times do we forget to check in on people, to see how folks are doing, to kind of do a follow-up of, hey, I know you had surgery last month, how are you feeling? Or, hey, I know that you were in the hospital for this procedure, I just wanted to make sure, do you need a ride to church? Or, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, how's everything going? It's just been such an exhausting and difficult time. I just want to check in and see how you are. A very famous John Wesley question is to ask people how it is with their soul. And I do have some United Methodist friends who always say, how is it with your soul? Because that's just such a historic John Wesley thing. But I do love that, to ask folks, how is it with your soul? Sometimes things are going well. Sometimes things are not going well. Sometimes people have fallen away or are drowning in despair, and they need to know that we care. They need to know that you care and I care. A good friend and a colleague in the Mountain Sky Conference, AJ Bush, she is a pastor in Salt Lake City. She said that she was looking to get 100 subscribers on YouTube. It's a common thing because we were just doing that last week, and she was 6 subscribers away. And she was like, okay. She kept posting it on Facebook. She kept making these like blanket posts asking people to subscribe kind of generally. And then she went, I'm going to text 6 people and ask them to subscribe to our Salt Lake City UMC YouTube page, because we want 100 YouTube subscribers just like we did. And all 6 subscribed. And the lesson that she reminded me was that intentionality of one-on-one, that ask directly instead of just a blanket ask, that invitation that is very personal, that is so powerful. So instead of just sharing, oh, I go to church, I go to Hope UMC, you could reach out to somebody in particular and say, I would love for you to come to church with me this Sunday. Or instead of saying to a bunch of friends at a party, oh, I'm going to participate in our Bible study on Romans. It's starting this September. You could ask somebody on a one-on-one conversation, hey, I just wanted to see if you wanted to participate. Our study meets on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. I would love for you to be there. This morning I had coffee with some folks who are just visiting the church, and I invited one of them to MOPS because we would love to have her at MOPS. And I have found that a personal invitation to something is a lot more meaningful than just posting it on Facebook or sending out a mass email or text message. So loved ones, how are you doing this week? Are you doing your homework? Are you focusing on checking in with people and making sure the folks that you haven't seen or heard from in a while know that you love them and that God loves them? We are all a work in progress, and sometimes we have better weeks than others. There are definitely weeks where I feel like I'm very okay, I'm doing the things that I need to be doing as a pastor. And then there are other weeks where I feel like I've had so many meetings and it hasn't been as good relationally. I haven't gotten to make as many visits as I would have liked. I haven't been able to connect with as many folks as I wish I would have. So we're not always going to have a good week, but we are called to continue in the legacy and in the path that Christ has for us, which is to always go after the one, to always remind people that they matter, that they're loved, that they are worthy of reaching out to. As COVID continues to rage on and as things are continually so divisive in our world, if you're watching this in Billings, you know how crazy it has been with the school district and masks. But if you're watching it anywhere else in the United States, you know how heavy and tired everyone has been. So remember to give people grace, but also remember that every single person has a battle that they're fighting that we know nothing about. And so offer them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt and ask them how they are doing. I guarantee you it will make their day. So I love you all. I hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. And I want to invite you to church. And I would love for you to personally reach out to one person and invite them to church service or fellowship time or UMW or our Bible study on the book of Romans. Invite them to MOPS. Maybe they've got kids. You could invite them and their kids to come to participate in Sunday school. Start reaching out about youth ministry and the kickoff that's happening. Invite them to one of our many missions activities. There's so many ways for us to relationally evangelize and be a part of pulling people in to the community and the family of God. I'll see you on Sunday. Bye.